What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. As you can see, we got another interview. Today's interview is with Rachel Anderson, one of my teammates here at Minnesota Distance Elite. I said we'd be interviewing more people from my team, and this is me doing that. So Rachel's originally from Ohio, went to college and competed at the Division I level at Southern Illinois University. That's down in Carbondale, Illinois, if you aren't familiar with that. She had a lot of success there, was one of their better runners, set some school records, very impressive 10-minute college PR in the steeplechase. She competed at outdoor nationals and got All-American there. Joined Minnesota Distance Elite last September and has had a lot of success up here. The system's really working for her. In recent times, she has ran a new PR in the steeplechase. She cut 15 seconds off, ran 9:45, and then about a week later backed it up and ran another 9:45. So she's on the up. So we're just going to jump into here, get to know Rachel and her story, how she got into running, and what makes her successful. All right, Rachel Anderson, thank you for being on the channel.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start with tell us your hometown and kind of where that is.
Yeah, so I'm from New Philadelphia, Ohio. I grew up on a dairy farm. It's in Northeast Ohio, near Akron.
Okay, nice. All right, yeah, so first question we always like to go with is, how did you get into running?
So I discovered I love running when my dad, we grew up like in a valley, and we had hay bales all over the hill, and my dad would go up on the skid loader and drive to get each one, and I would just like race him to each one, and I kind of was like, I like the feeling of running and just had a lot of energy and felt like I didn't get tired. And then growing up, I've played a lot of sports, and by the time we got to 7th grade, I didn't have a fall sport picked out. I didn't like soccer because you could tie, and then I didn't love volleyball because there wasn't a lot of running involved. So I went to the cross-country meeting with my friend Sarah Stoneman, and we were sitting there in the auditorium, and Libby Wallach at the time was the coach, and she was like, you're going to need spikes because we run in the woods. And I was like, why do they run in the woods? And then she was like, you're going to need trainers. If you had a summer trainer, you're going to need some fall trainers. And I didn't know at the time she was talking about shoes, and that kind of freaked me out because I was like, oh, they have a whole trainer that trains them, and I didn't have one of those. So I didn't tell my family I went to that meeting. And then like a few weeks go by, and they do a few races, and Sarah was like, we still don't have a team. I'd hear about it all at school, and she's like, I didn't know what that meant still, because I didn't know you needed 5 people to score. And eventually I did join, and then found out I loved it. So yeah.
Yeah, shout out to your friend Sarah there for getting you into the sport. All right, so at what point did you want to continue running in high school instead of doing some of those other sports? Was it pretty instant, or did it take a little bit of time?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to run track. I just didn't know anything about cross country. We had the first Town Days Festival where you got to do the 100 and 200, and I was pretty good at that and enjoyed it. And then I played basketball in middle school and played that through high school. And then, like, looking beyond high school, I thought I would play all sports. So I was looking at a D3 school, Wilmington College, and I was going to play all 3 sports there. But,
okay,
yeah.
So when you end up going to Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, from my research, it's about 8 hours from 8.5 from your hometown. So what went into that decision?
Yeah, that was a late minute decision because I got recruited pretty late in the game from them, and they also had animal science like Wilmington, and I started getting fast at my last track season in high school, and that's when they found me. So yeah, I just kind of like made the move. I met some people on the team, and I thought they wanted to build something special at SIU, and I was on board.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so at what point, obviously you've ran some good stuff on the track and cross country, but your main event is the steeplechase, and we'll get a little more into that. But here in a minute, but what what point was the initial decision to like, I'm gonna try out this thing called steeplechase?
Honestly, I thought about it for a while. My high school coach, our head coach in high school, she was a hurdler, and she was like, I just know you're going to go to college and do the steeplechase. And then when I was looking at SIU, Kayla Shira, she had ran some really good times and got to compete at the U20 championships in the steeplechase. And then Coach Cataldo was like, I'll train you for the steeplechase. And when he was recruiting me to go there, yeah, it just seemed fun and like breaks up running kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So did you start that freshman year, hit the ground running with
Yeah, and
steeplechase?
then we had COVID, and then so I don't know when my first one was, but like 2021, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was your first time? Do you remember off the top of your head? I probably should have looked this up, but
Yeah, you could look it up. It's like 11:50 or 40 or something.
okay.
Yeah.
So you've
I did that a few times, and then eventually got into 10:30s. So.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So let's kind of talk about the steeplechase, since that's, like I said, your main event. You've had a lot of success there. So from starting off there running 11 something, to end up your last year of college, you go to Division I Nationals in the steeplechase, and then now post college you've had two really good steeplechase. You're in 945 twice. What kind of has led to that success after maybe not having just the initial like banger success coming out of the gun with the steeple? Was there a combination of things, or?
Yeah, a lot of working on my mindset. Like I had like a lot of race nerves and would just beat the crap out of myself in my head and kind of just would go backwards in a lot of those races. And Coach Beeker really helped me. We had a lot of meetings where I would just leave with a book, and he would, like, one was like good to great, and yeah, put in a lot of consistent work. Like my long runs got up, I started doubling, and kind of just was more mindful of everything I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sounds like a combination of mindset and just being a better overall runner. Hurdle wise, I know you don't sound just talking to you at practice or work or whatever, you don't put a lot of, maybe, I don't want to say thought into the hurdles, but maybe not as much as some other people. You don't put as much pressure on yourself with the barriers. Have you always been pretty solid there and not put too much pressure on that, or what's kind of your mindset with?
I fell in the water pit and at regionals a couple years ago, and like I think just over time just being more focused when they're around, and then I do a lot of work, like we do it twice a week, working on form, and then sitting in the L every day like makes my form better, and just I've gotten a lot more flexible and like over time gotten a lot more confident.
Okay, yeah, nice. Confidence is definitely important in athletics and running, but it definitely feels like steeplechase. Just some people I've known throughout college and talked to. Yeah, if you're not confident going over those barriers, it normally doesn't end very well. So that's good that you've had that mindset. Yeah, so let's kind of talk about your time at SIU. So what was your first year there again?
2019.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you had your first year with COVID. How did that kind of change, kind of break things up, where you kind of got college going and then first year you had COVID hit?
Yeah, and then I just kind of went home and worked on the farm and then ran every day. So that kind of like gave me some training, and I thought after that whole training block that I would come out on the other side and be really good, and then it was kind of the same thing. Like I was still beating myself up in races and running pretty poorly if you look it up on T-First. And then Coach Cataldo ended up leaving. He went to Western Michigan. We had a whole stretch where we were just holding each other accountable and just kind of coaching ourselves, and I learned a lot about myself. And then Coach Beeker showed up and like just kind of like demanded excellence, and I think that really took me to the next level, and he gave me a lot of good lessons that I'm taking with me today.
Awesome. Yeah. So from what I saw, it looked like you set some school records at SIU. What does that mean to you to hold those records? Is it something you think about, or you just?
No, I don't know. I hope they get broken. I want our team to be good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. All right, yeah. So, what's your? I mean, okay, obviously steeple's your best event, but outside of that, what event do you really enjoy doing?
The steeplechase. No, I don't know. I really enjoyed cross this year with our whole team. That was a lot of fun for me. Yeah, just having a whole group, like we all trained together and then went out and actually did it on the day, and that was fun.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and talk about that. I mean, I had a nice with Minnesota Elite. I know talking with Coach Lundstrom before, you and some of the ladies joined last fall. He was excited because haven't been able to send a full roster to Club Nats in many years. So he was excited just for that, just to even just have a full team, but then also looking at the talent coming in that you guys might have a shot at winning. So what kind of went into that with you and your teammates? Kind of, was that something you talked about with them, or was it just kind of you just trained and trusted, and on the day went out there and just said, let's race good?
Everyone getting here in September, we were all kind of like, that's what we were looking forward to in the fall, because we had a whole stretch where we were just training, and then that would be the first couple races to get our seasons going, and I think we all had that in mind, and it was fun that it just happened.
Yeah, and with the cross country races, with the sound one and club, there was hay bales on the course. As a steeplechaser, I mean, sometimes some people, like some steeplechasers, it's like, oh, I'm automatically going to run good because there's hay bales on the course. But obviously, there's more to it than that. Do you feel like that gave you any sort of edge, or did it just kind of just felt like part of the race?
I think for that 8K, it did. It was fun that it broke up the race. I got to focus on, like, there were 5 laps, right?
Yeah, sound.
So we went over them 5 times, and I looked forward to like getting over there and then kind of keeping a pace after it. Yeah,
good stuff. And then if there was like another event that you wouldn't mind doing more of, is there, like on the track specifically, like? Because I know you ran a good 3K indoor, but then also, like, not that it was on track, but you ran a good 10K on the road last fall. So is there any distances you'd be interested in exploring on the track?
I want to see what I can do in a 1500, and I want to see what I could do in a 10K. I think we talked about that in college, about running a 10K. There just didn't happen on the schedule, but like that was kind of on my mind that it could happen. Yeah,
that'd be cool to see that, but also don't want to take away from the steeple since you're having success. So hopefully you have those opportunities. All right. So you mentioned that you studied animal science. So maybe let's just briefly talk about with how you kind of balanced that degree, like studying animal science and also being a good runner in college.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. It was what I was used to. Like, I grew up on the dairy farm and did 4-H and stuff like that. So it seemed familiar to do, and then we had a lot of labs off of campus out on the farms, and that was fun to break up my day.
Okay, nice. So maybe it wasn't something that stressed you out. You kind of maybe end up helping you to kind of have that that breakup. Awesome. And after running, do you plan on using that degree, or kind of where you?
I want to keep running for a long time. So
I'm saying the animal science you see, maybe use that someday, or okay, all right. Something, I believe this was pulled this off our team website. You always have Jolly Ranchers packed in your bag. What's the story behind that?
Like, honestly, in college, I would get nervous and my mouth would get dry, so I would just like carry the Jolly Ranchers and like go on my warm up. But that hasn't really happened for a while, but I guess I just still take them along. Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. So I think this was pulled off the website too. So you've joked before about wanting to bark at competitors during races because your mascot in college was a dog. So that's fun, but funny. But then, like, how do you think you use humor to kind of stay focused, but also kind of enjoy running?
The focus part's the issue. Like, I think I can always be light and have fun during it, but I need to. I think I know when to get serious, but sometimes I like having fun.
Yeah,
a little bit too much.
Yeah, if you can balance that, that can be good, because some people, and I see this with being a high school coach, some people, they just want to just goof off the whole time, and then they don't run good, but then you can see people that are just way too serious and then get in their own head. So yeah, if you can balance that, work out really well. All right, so you joined Minnesota Distance Elite. We talked about this then last fall, September 2024. What went into that decision to move up here to Minnesota?
Yeah, so Coach Beekert was my coach for 2 years, and his first year there, he was like, "What do you want to do next year?" And I was like, "Well, can we see how good I can get?" And so he kind of brought up this team name, and I was like, Minnesota. And then I kind of started looking into it, and I was like, I think a lot of the older women are going to start running really well, and like they all did. And then Coach Amy from Iowa State is really close with Coach Beekert, and she was like, I think her girls might join, and like we'd have a really good cross team, and that's kind of what happened. Yeah, I made the move. Had a great visit with Coach Lundo and the team, and yeah.
All right. Yeah, did you look into any other groups, or just this was the one that was suggested and everything was?
Yeah, everything kind of just worked out. Like, I was going to do this, or like see where Coach Beekert ended up and maybe keep training with him. But yeah, having training partners was really cool.
Yeah, that's important. All right, yeah, so since being here, we've talked a little about Jake's success. So let's talk about recently at the Brian Clay Invitational, you're in a 15-second PR in the steeplechase. So that was really impressive. I was there. We were pretty pumped for that. So did anything change to make that big jump, or was it just consistency and it was just kind of finally hit?
Thinking bigger and consistency. I was hoping to do that or something near that last year and make the Olympic trials, and just never had a big race. It kind of stayed around the 10 flat range, and kind of put it together this year.
Okay. Yeah, now that you've run that, does that kind of open your eyes a little bit? Think you're capable of maybe more than what you thought before that, or?
Yeah, I think I finished both races thinking I didn't go to the full well, and felt really good with 3 laps to go in both of those races. So like hoping to put myself more in the mix if we get another couple tries this outdoor season. Okay,
nice. So the big goal this outdoor season is making that U.S. championship in the steeplechase?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Right now you're on the right track. So let's see here. Let's talk maybe training. What's kind of your favorite type of training or workout?
I really liked all the hill stuff we've done here. There'll be like hills, and then we go out on a tempo, and then we'll do more hills. It's just different than what I've done before, and it was fun.
Yeah, that's fun. Let me see here. I'm gonna pause this briefly. All right, so something if people have been watching our interviews would know. I always like to ask kind of what you would advise people. So like if you were to give advice to a new runner, especially, what's your like go-to number one advice?
Yeah, I'd say keep betting on yourself. Don't give other people too much credit, and try to have fun with it. Yeah.
Awesome, good advice. All right, and then we did this with the last interview with Kaylee. I'm gonna do some lightning questions. Some of these are going to be the same as what they were for her. If anyone watched that video, maybe a couple different. Just lightning questions, lightning round here. First thing that comes to mind. Favorite post-race meal?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Can't go wrong with some nice ice cream. All right. Your favorite city you've raced in?
I loved the Raleigh relays. That was fun.
Okay. Yeah, nice. That's a good meet. You kind of do you consider yourself a morning person or a night owl?
I'm just a person. I like being awake.
You like being awake. All right. All right. So here's maybe a fun one. What's if you could pick any sponsor from any brand. Doesn't have to be like necessarily a running brand, but if you got to pick, what's your like dream sponsor?
A chocolate milk sponsor.
A chocolate milk
Yeah.
sponsor. That would be nice. If Fairlife or anybody's watching this, message her. All right. Do you have a favorite quote or kind of a motto that with running that you think about a
I
lot?
like Steve Prefontaine's quote, "To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift."
Awesome. Yeah, great quote there. Let's see here. Maybe a couple more. Yeah, what's like your go-to hype song before a workout or race?
Let the drummer kick. It just kind of like keeps me calm.
Okay, nice. All right, and then if you could be, like, if you were doing another sport, like if someone said, all right, you can be just as successful at a different sport as you are with running
I would
in the
be a
steeplechase.
7-footer and I could dunk.
Okay. that'd be impressive. So yeah, all right. Thank you, Rachel. Hopefully people have enjoyed this. Get another one of my teammates. We should have some more Minnesota Dis Elite teammates on the channel moving forward here. Got some more lined up, but thank you, Rachel. You said some good stuff.
Thanks for having me.
appreciate it.